Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles, where midlife is messy, menopause is madness, and we're sweating through it together.
We're Angie and Shelley, two caffeine-fueled, slightly inappropriate grandmas who say what everyone's thinking.
So grab a drink, crank up the AC, and let's dive in. Angie!
Shelley!
It's that time again.
It is. It's 4:55.
And you know what that means?
It means it's time for another riveting episode of Hot Flash Chronicles.
Woot!
Welcome to our podcast. I'm Angie.
I'm Shelley.
And what are we talking about today, Shelley?
I think this one's going to be
Is it going to be super fun?
It's going to be super
near
fun.
And dear to our hearts?
Absolutely.
Obviously, why wouldn't it be?
We're going to talk about what we used to do before social media.
So many things.
So many things. And some of them were
kind of annoying. How did we keep up on people? How did we know what the goings-ons were? Yeah, how did we stalk people?
It was a lot harder. It took a lot more effort. Not that I did that. Wink, wink. But it was definitely a different world. And technology has really...
A whole new world.
That's right. If I knew more words to that, I would be in on it.
Something carpet ride. Okay, sorry. ADD. Whoa.
So, yeah, it was... social media now is so much a part of everybody's life that I get a little bit weirdly panicked, like if I can't locate my phone.
Right.
Because I have so much of my life. I've got my work calendar on there. I've got my work email. I got my regular email. My family texts me there. So it's like, this is no longer just a phone. It's really a mini computer that runs your whole life.
It is. And how did we entertain ourselves? Like, how did we know what was going on? Like, we had to call people.
That's weird.
What about like before email even?
We were around before email. We are of the era.
We are prehistoric.
We are prehistoric.
Pre-email.
From a social media aspect, we are basically dinosaurs. But we're not
cute
quite,
dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're not quite extinct, but literally lived in a different time.
Extinct. That's what I've been striving for my whole life.
To not be
quite extinct.
But it was very different, and there was a lot more phone calling. That's one of the main things. I don't love to talk on the phone. I have to do it for my job.
I can't talk on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have any phone anxiety, imagine a world where you couldn't just text people or shoot them an email. You had to actually pick up the phone and call them. And
if they weren't somewhere that had a phone, like if somebody went grocery shopping and you're like, oh, snap, I forgot to tell him that we need
a blah, blah, blah.
Right. We need hot dog buns, right?
Yeah.
You had to legit wait for somebody to get home or go on a whole separate trip because there was no way to get a hold of the person that was at the grocery store to be like, wait, I just remembered we need hot dog buns. Or there was no way to be at the grocery store and confirm, are these the things you're wanting?
Yeah.
Like everything had to be written down. We had to write down directions how to get to somebody's house. And God forbid you miss a turn.
My job, when I first started doing my job, I had to do a lot of going to different appointments, and they would be sometimes in different cities. And this was before even like the TomToms and the stuff you could plug into your car. There was no GPS. There was no Waze. There was no Google Maps. So I remember I had actual physical maps in my car of different cities.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
In Washington State. And then they did get MapQuest on the interwebs where I could print those out. And let me tell you, they had about 70% accuracy.
If that.
God
forbid you missed a turn.
If you missed a turn, and you'd have to be rifling through printed out printer paper.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how the hell to get to the place. I was always late because the directions were not usually very accurate.
So with social media comes like reviews for places to go eat, right? It used to be that you'd have to go on just other people's ask, hey, have you been to that burger joint, whatever, or you should try this new Italian place. But now, because of social media, we can follow different restaurants and see what they have going on. We can see if they have something going on for Cinco de Mayo or something like that. And with social media, it has eliminated like classified ads in newspapers, like
it's eliminated
radio
newspapers.
ads. It's eliminated a lot of things. So social media influencers are a whole new thing. And doing like social media ads, I do for my business. And if you don't have social media for your business,
your business isn't going to work.
Good luck. I mean, some people make it work, but it's hard.
Well, I think social media, because everything is so instantaneous, like you can Google something and get an answer right away. Like
we used to have to like get encyclopedias.
Yes, I was going to say
research it at the library.
In high school, when I would write a research paper, you had to go to the library and use the Dewey Decimal System and look up the books.
Do they still have Dewey Decimal? I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do. I haven't been for a while because I have a phone. I don't need to do that. But you had to go and look at, and like at our school, the dick.
Oh my. Our school
not the dictionaries, the encyclopedias. That's what I meant. They could be 20 years old and they'd still be fairly accurate. You know, if we think of ish, you know.
An albacore tuna is going to still be pretty accurate on the.
Yeah, it's going to be the same, you would hope. But unless it's extinct. Albacore. But you had to do a lot more footwork and spend a lot of time doing these things that are now instantaneously done. And one would think because our time has been freed up that we would use it much more productively. But no, we use it to do Candy Crush or games.
Candy Crush, I feel like, is now outdated. Do people still play it?
I don't know. I do Royal Kingdom. I don't.
Royal Kingdom?
Yeah, I don't think it's cool. I don't think anything.
I play World of Warcraft. I just started playing that again.
Yeah. But you can do these things on your phone. Years ago. And guess what? You will. I'm not using my time to cure anything or to be a better human. My extra time that all this technology is freed up, am I doing anything worthwhile with it? Probably not.
You are. And if you follow us on the TikToks or the Instagrams or the Facebooks, I just wanted to sound old by saying the TikToks.
The TikToks.
It is an ever-evolving algorithm. So I remember when TikTok first came out and our youngest daughter was on it and she was, 20, 21. And she was just flipping through these reels and it was like 12 seconds. And I sat with her and we were watching and there was like the dance monkey thing. It was like a whole trending was a new thing. Right.
Going viral.
I remember sitting in the kitchen and watching her just continually scrolling these little 10-second clips. And I tried doing it and I said, I think I'm dumber for having spent the last hour doing that. I don't think I got any like actual
real meat and potatoes.
No, there was no redeeming. And I was like, this is never going to stick. Joke's on me. Now I have a TikTok. And now I love it. I will lay in bed for an hour and a half. Like last night, we went to bed at midnight and I was up till 2:15 scrolling reels. What did I learn? I saved some recipes. I learned how to plant sweet potatoes, which is different than how to plant potatoes. I watched a guy clean his whole apartment room by room. I watched a couple that is living in a van for the next 3 years, how they live in a van and how do they go to the bathroom? How do they shower? So I was literally sitting and I was like, why am I not sleeping? I should be sleeping.
I think that
ADD.
Exactly. I think social media is entertaining in the sense that it is sometimes passive entertainment. You don't really have to think a lot about it. It's just kind of in front of you. You can scroll it. You can pick the subjects you want to be brain dead over and just be entertained by. So in some ways, maybe that's good. But I'll tell you, since I've gotten more involved in social media, I hardly ever read a book anymore. I used to be an avid book reader. That was a way I would spend my time. And I hardly ever do that now.
I read Kindle books.
Yeah.
I don't read physical books anymore because I don't want to haul them around and I can hold like 1 billion books in this tiny little device. Why wouldn't I just use that?
Yeah. And
my mom likes the feel. My son likes the feel.
Yeah.
My husband, they all like the feel of it. I don't like laying in bed and you're trying to use one hand and how do I turn the page? Like Kindle's great because you can just hold it and use it.
Click. So there's been I think there's definitely pluses and minuses to what social media has done. But it saves us a lot of time. Do we use our time more wisely? I don't know. When you were talking about phones, there was kind of a nice, if you think about it, it was kind of nice that people couldn't just get a hold of me instantaneously.
Right.
Now
like if our husbands needed us right now,
yeah,
they would flip shit. Well, our husbands wouldn't, but a lot of people would flip shit if you don't answer right away.
Within
like
3
I've had
minutes.
clients that will text me at like 11 p.m. and then at 7 a.m. they're like, you didn't answer. I'm like, bitch, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Let me sleep.
Or they'll send you.
I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. There are like 4 people that can bust through that. Like if my kids need to get a hold of me, if my parents need to get a hold of me, if my sister, if they need to get a hold of me, then they can break through the Do Not Disturb. But I don't need pinging and ponging and dinging and donging and all that stuff.
Especially not the donging.
Sleep. Well,
maybe a little bit of donging.
Not if I'm trying to sleep.
Maybe if I'm trying to sleep.
Oh, that's a good turn.
Anyway, let's get focused back on.
This is Focus Fox. Have I taught you that yet?
No, I need that.
So this is the Focus Fox. And when Angie ADD is too hard, then you can just do this and I'll focus in.
Oh, good.
Remember how Teresa used to do this when she was directing us as a chorus?
Yeah.
This is my Focus Fox. Melanie knows it.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
So if I'm just like, well, tangent, you can
apparently
just do
dongs get us off to a subject where we need
wow. Dongs get us off. That was a sentence. That's great for social media.
NSFW again.
Apparently, this is an NSFW. We didn't know that cell phones.
We're going to focus back
off. Focus Fox.
Focus Fox.
No, like this, like a fox.
Focus Fox. Okay.
Oh, what did my oldest grandson the other day did? Quiet. What did he do? He said he did an animal and he was like, oh, this is quiet quail or something. He did a hand gesture. I was like, oh, do you know Focus Fox? He's like, no, Oma, I don't.
I'm going to make up some animal. I think I want mine to be something like a hedgehog, so I'll work on that.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
So
get back
to the subject at hand. So we now maybe have some extra time. Are we going to use it wisely? We don't know. But the idea that you have all this information at your fingertips so quickly, that you have entertainment built in, I think it's very interesting when you go out to a restaurant now in public now, as opposed to maybe when we went to a restaurant, say 25 years ago. It's very interesting to look around the restaurant, look at other people, and you'll see people with their phones at the restaurant, and they're not even talking to each other. They're across the table from each other, but they are on their phones. There are people who are so addicted to the phone that it is literally with them all the time, and that they don't necessarily even talk to people who are right in front of them. And I feel like that isn't great. I think there's been a change in the way that we communicate, and there's been a change in social norms of what's acceptable in like even interactions like that. Like,
well, I'll be at my parents' house because we do like every Thursday we do lunches there, and I'll look around the room and my dad, my mom, my son, his wife, myself are all on our phones, and I'm like, really great hanging out with you guys.
Yeah. It's
even the
fact like, that we actually
all 3 generations are like, we're tied to our phones.
We actually now have people who like they designate, you put your phone in this basket. We cannot be on our phones during dinner. We need to really, I feel like we've lost some of the art of communication and how we socially, for sure. How we socially interact and what is acceptable is way different than it used to be, because I don't talk on the phone to my friends very much anymore at all. I text them. I like the convenience of texting. I like that I can get back to it, that it gives me a moment to think about what I'm going to say. Whereas when you're on the phone, you're live in the moment. And I feel like you have to answer really quickly. And sometimes I don't feel like I have the full answer fleshed out. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I used to do this all the time?
Remember when they, when the internet was in its infancy and we would do like chat rooms?
Oh yeah.
Or like dial up.
Yeah.
Like, when are you going to be on the message boards today? Like message boards were a thing. And now it's like, I mean, I own cookbooks, but I haven't cracked one in a decade because we have Pinterest.
Yeah.
If I'm like, I don't know how to make sourdough waffles, bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah.
Instantly, I can either find a reel on how to make sourdough waffles, or I can find a Pinterest post or like Reddit. Like there's all sorts of places you can go to find this information on social media. Like I was thinking, I'm growing potatoes right now, and I was like, I kind of want to grow sweet potatoes.
I love sweet potatoes.
And then it was like, oh, they don't grow the same way as potatoes. You don't put them in a grow bag. It's different.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that was one of the things I was doing between midnight and 2 a.m. last night, looking up how do you grow sweet potatoes. So instead of Googling, how do I grow sweet potatoes? I went on Instagram and did a search for reels so that I could watch people do it because I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
So I'm watching people plant. Like here's how you grow the slips off of first you have to put it in the water, and then you have a little toothpick here, and then it grows a slip, and then you break that off and you put it in the water, and then you plant it, and it's like a whole thing. But I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just read it.
I feel like the balance of all this is that right there, balance. You have to figure out how to take the best parts of having modern technology, but mix them in with some of the human interaction and communication traits that we used to have that maybe we've lost a little bit of through just this super convenient thing that allows us to really, honestly, you can just kind of program your whole life on your phone if you want to.
You have access to any information at any time.
Yeah. And that's a big, powerful thing.
Well, and Jeff was saying something about a few weeks ago. He was saying, is it that kidnappings have risen?
Or that we just know more.
Or we just know more. Because back in the 70s and 80s, we would just like kick rocks and, go hang out until the sun's going down. Then we had to be home. Our parents didn't necessarily know where we were. They didn't know whose house we were at or what construction site we were playing on. Oh. And now you can like track somebody's phone. You can track your kid's phone. So you would know where they were. And is it just that we're able to see it more because we have social media or news? Like
news is so like,
yeah.
When we had newspapers, I remember that is how you got news, was on the nightly news. You'd have your local news right after dinner, and then you'd have the nightly news like at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. That's how you got news of the world, but your local news was in your newspaper. But even that was already a few days old by the time you would read it. If somebody died, like somebody big, a famous celebrity, or somebody died, a president, a political figure, you might not know till a few hours later, maybe even the next day. Like now we know like within 5 minutes.
Like if we found out, right, like if I'll use a fictional, if Mickey Mouse died right now, mm-hmm. right? We would know because our apps would send us a notification.
And it would be trending.
I would, because I have a news app that pings mm-hmm. me through Apple News. It lets me know of new stories that are relevant to what I'm interested in. And I could text you and be like, oh my God, did you see that Mickey Mouse died? Like yep. all of these things. Whereas now it's like everybody knows at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's all just dispersed constantly.
Well, and world news
constant
and like
information.
When there was a political strife or when there was a war or something, you didn't necessarily find out about it right away. Like the news would come in a few days behind. Like we can't even imagine that now.
And we didn't always know what our friends' political leanings were.
No.
Now we do with social media.
You can go out and look at somebody's Facebook page and know
you can creep them.
If they post stuff like that. And one thing I know changed from an HR perspective is like potential employers, they go out and look at your social media pages. Mm-hmm. Like if they're interested in you, like if you've submitted a resume, I'm like, oh my God, I hope I never have to look for work. Or if you're potentially
going to date someone, you can go stalk their Facebook profile or their Instagram profile. Like,
yeah,
there's so many things. Or like cyberbullying.
Yeah.
It used to be that people could only bully you while you were actually at school.
Yeah, now
kids
they can
only
get
got bullied during school hours,
and
there's more likely a chance of an adult seeing it and stopping it. Yeah. Now, people, I mean, it's out of control. I sound like an old grandma.
That's what I'm saying. Like this balance, it's like, how do you take the best parts and the convenience, because it is freeing up your time, but are you using your free time to mindlessly, there's your brain waves, the way your brain works. There's certain kinds of activities that put your brain in a very passive place, which your brain needs sometimes. You need to have periods of rest.
Right, like brain rests.
And things
That's
like that.
That's what reality TV is for me. I don't have to actually comprehend what's going on. It's just going on in the background, and it's like a rest for my brain.
Your brain is more passive and rested when you're watching television than it is when it's asleep. And that's, I know.
What?
It's one of those weird things. TV is a tranquilizer.
I'm sorry I keep itching my eyes. I have like allergies. My eyes are, so if you're watching the video, I apologize.
You get to know the real us. All allergies and everything. But yeah, TV, your brain is more passive. That's why some people like to zone out at the end of their day and they'll watch 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours of TV because it's not a very active activity for your brain. And I also believe that scrolling and watching is the same kind of almost hypnotic kind of involvement that your brain gets. So you need a certain amount of that, but there can also be too much of that.
Accurate.
So it's about limiting screen time. And, now you can put timers on your stuff. And it's like, that's probably not a bad idea. Also, getting outside, getting fresh air, walking, being involved
Seeing
in your
people
garden,
three-dimensionally.
being involved in your garden, taking your dog for a walk. There are other restful things you can do that are calming self-care things that aren't just use screen time. Like they're talking about how our eyesight is being affected by looking at all these screens all the time.
For sure.
And it's like,
hearing
we have to, and hearing. We have to balance stuff.
We always have AirPods.
And I'm the worst person because I'm really somebody who needs to start considering this kind of stuff because I can easily get sucked into a social media reel-a-thon.
And Shelley's been doing the socials for Hot Flash Chronicles. So I'll just I wake up and I'll get notifications because I'm also an admin on the things, but I do the editing of the podcast and the video themselves. And then she manages all the socials and stuff like that. But I'll get notifications that she put up a new TikTok and it's like, she's over here doing the work. And I love it. And she's so clever. If you don't follow us on socials, speaking of social media, you need to follow us on all the socials.
Put us in your hours worth of things you want to just go through.
It's just a different way to spend time. But I remember watching it with Anna, our daughter, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, they're called, what were they? Because they had Vines back then too.
They had Vines.
And I was what are you watching an 8-second video for? What are you going to get out of 8 seconds?
Because they now know how attention deficit we are, you guys. If you do social media, if you make posts and stuff, you realize there was a time on social media when people would just write. They would just post text in their, this was 15 years ago. Then we figured out they let us attach pictures. And then we started noticing, if it has a picture with it, people will look at it. Then it turned into video.
Right.
That became the hot ticket. If it has a
killed the radio star.
And then it was videos under 5 minutes. Then it was videos under a minute. Now they literally tell you for social media, 5 and 7 seconds are what capture. People drop off. If you do 1 full minute, they drop off at about the 7-second mark. That's how we have shortened our
really
attention.
Invested in your content.
Yeah. So it's if you can retain them.
You have a raving fan, then they might stay longer. But
people just
don't. Short form content is
they scroll through it that
but
fast.
I do it. I'll just sit and scroll for hours.
Yeah. It's we have to learn how to balance this for mental health purposes. What's really good for you? What are you getting out of this stuff? So I really tried to, on our social media, the people we're trying to attract are you.
Yeah.
We're trying to attract people who are midlife and it's not just this, even though it's about menopause, it's not that we're saying it's only for women. If men want to follow this and be a part of it, we're completely welcoming of anybody who wants to follow it. But we want...
Water's warm. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. We want people to share their stories, who want to talk about these things that we have in common. So that's who I'm trying to target on our social media is people who are midlife, over...
And it's fun to do.
30s, 40s, 50s, talk about our children, our grandchildren, our hobbies, the things that interest us in life. So that's who we're targeting it for. And that's the kind of, we do a lot of things that are retro, like things from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
Or watch these two grandmas try to figure out social media with all these young bucks that are influencers.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just over here trying to stay in our lane.
Have our fun and use social media in a way that speaks to people in our age group. That's what we're trying to do. So we would love for you to be on those.
We want to know what you did before social media.
Yeah.
And what kind of...
Did you read a real newspaper or book? Did you
Why
go...
do you lean into the mic like that? It picks it all up.
Did you go to the mall and not just order off of Amazon?
Oh my gosh. I know, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole other episode.
It is.
So what do you love about social media? What do you wish had never happened? And how did you used to spend your time then versus now?
Yeah.
And as with every episode, we're going to end with some rapid fire questions.
I always get too excited.
She does, and she yells into the mic, but that's why we have equalizers.
Thank God for those.
In our software, which, by the way, we're using new software. So we have new audio, new video. Let us know what you think if you have been with us since the beginning. Like, how does it compare? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Because now we're using a proper DSLR camera.
Fancy.
And yeah, we have recording software. So shout out to Kellen for explaining to me what to use.
Thank you, Kellen.
Thank
you, Kellen.
Get off the mic. He'd tell you that.
Okay.
Kellen would say, get off the mic. He wouldn't say that. He's really nice.
He'd be nice.
You would like him. Okay, rapid fire. Focus, Fox. Rapid fire questions. Okay.
We're going to make her go. Oh, she's going to make me go first. Okay, since we're talking about social media, I'm going to try to do one that's kind of on that.
That's a great idea.
Okay, so would you rather, I'm going to do a would you rather. Would you rather spend your time if you had, let's say, a clear 4 hours a week, and you were going to have to dedicate it to only one social media platform, which one would you pick?
Instagram.
Oh, she was quick.
I like Instagram. That's kind of my platform of choice. That's where I have the most followers, most engagement, because I've cultivated that, because that's where I like to spend my time. I think Instagram holds a lot of, it does lives or reels or photos.
They tell us that the old people run Facebook was for young people, then the old people took over, and then we scared all the young people off over to Instagram. Then the old people came in and started taking over Instagram, and then they went to TikTok. But now they're saying we're taking over TikTok too.
Well, whatever.
You know what?
Everybody.
Deal with it. There is room for
everyone. Okay. Favorite flavor of coffee syrup?
Why are you being so... You're going to make me pick one? Okay, I've got one that I've been hooked on lately. It is kettle corn syrup. It's kettle corn.
Buy that, or you just get it at Dutch Brothers, right?
They had it as a seasonal item.
Brothers.
It's Torrini syrup, so you can get it on Amazon. And it is really nice because it's a mix of, if you like caramel, but it's got salty. It's not like salted caramel. It's a little bit different than the salted caramel. Kettle corn, so it's actually got like a buttery element to it too. It's like a buttery, salty caramel. It's good. Do it.
They have it at Cash and Carry?
They might. I mean, you can get it off Amazon. It might be a seasonal one. I don't know.
Okay. What's your second question for Michelle?
Okay. Second question for Angie is, I might go a coffee themed one too, just because we do love the coffee so much.
Coffee.
Do you prefer hot coffee or iced coffee?
Depends on the weather.
She put in a third element.
Well, okay. So
seasonal
if
heat.
You were like
cold,
you have to choose. I really like an iced coffee, but I will suck an iced coffee down so fast that it doesn't even get set down on the table.
Yeah.
Like if iced coffee
shotgun
didn't have calories or caffeine, because caffeine, like I can't drink coffee later in the day because it does keep me up. There's no limit to how much I would drink. Like if I didn't have to worry about any like nutritional situations, there is no limit to how much iced coffee. I could drink
limitless
gallons a day. I love iced
coffee.
I
prefer iced too. I mean, in the winter when it's really, really cold, I enjoy it warm, but I like the taste of it. I think I get more of the taste profile when it's cold for some reason.
Okay.
Yep. There we are.
Okay. So let's do a social media question. Who is your favorite social media person to follow that's not somebody that you know in real life?
Oh, so okay, so like maybe a celebrity or something. I tend to watch people who are funny, so I can't even remember their names, but I follow. Oh God, what's his name? I can't remember. He imitates Moira Rose. M. Hudson something.
Mateo?
No. He's funny, but of non-funny people, it's like Hudson Berry, I think is his name.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard
but
that
he came out like during the got popular during COVID. He would do Moira Rose impressions and lip sync Moira Rose phrases.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, he's funny. I'll send you who he is. And then for people who are not funny, I follow Mel Robbins, who is like a
Love her.
Motivational speaker.
My friend Peter just met her.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have Peter on the podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna start having guests.
If you guys have ideas of what we could ask, like hot middle-aged man as a guest, because he's not like menopausal, but he's easy to objectify. He's funny as fuck.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
He's great. Well, we can just sit and objectify him. Maybe that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
We'll
See how long it takes him to crumple under our
He won't crumple.
Our
he will rise to the challenge for sure. He is.
Maybe that's an NSFW episode. If
No.
somebody's going to rise
Peter
to the challenge.
Peter, we're going to call on you. Okay. Did we asked all the questions? We did.
We did.
Okay. So thank you for listening. This has been another episode of Hot Flash Chronicles podcast. Means the world that you listen to us. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, and a 5-star rating would mean the world to us wherever you listen to your podcast.
And follow us on some of our other social media.
Go to our socials. Speaking of social media.
Do it. Yeah. Do it in the appropriate amounts of time. Don't binge.
I mean, you can binge us.
We can't tell you what to do. Do what you want.
All of our links are in the link tree, which if you're seeing this anywhere, there's a link tree attached. So thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Ciao.
Arrivederci.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you laughed, related, or just need more, hit subscribe.
Check out the show notes to find us on socials and YouTube, and join our Patreon for exclusive extras.
And remember,
we're still hot, just in flashes.